All right, here we are, another episode in our summer series of Keymasters, and I'm Sven Rajala, and today we've got Jörgen.
Yep, hi there. Nice to be here. Jörgen, working at Keyfactor as a Solution Engineer.
And today we want to discuss what does it mean to put your HSM into FIPS mode. We get a lot of questions about putting HSM in FIPS mode and what that does, and we figured it made a lot of sense to make a video about it to educate the community on it. So Jörgen, what does that do when I put my HSM into FIPS mode?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's a rather common discussion we have. The first thing, what is FIPS?
Ooh,
so
what
we
is
even
it?
start there. I mean, I would say it makes sense to have an HSM that's have been FIPS certified, gone through the testing, because when you leave the HSM for testing, I mean, sometimes you get feedback and you have to correct the code, software, or most of the time even the hardware, and eventually you get it certified. So that sort of gives you a good foundation on your HSM is well tested, it's in good use.
So that means actually FIPS applies to both software and hardware too?
Yeah, for that sort of the bundle of that component.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah, that's good. But then, should you put it into FIPS mode? Because usually in the HSM you have this mode to enable FIPS mode, or just leave it as it is. And that's where you could have the discussion. And I would say, personally, don't enable FIPS, because it limits the number of sort of algorithms supported. So you are basically down to NIST's sort of recommendation when it comes to RSA key sizes, hashing algorithms. And when you update your HSM, you get the latest NIST recommendation or guidance on algorithms. So meaning we had, like, was it 10 years ago when SHA-1 was no longer accepted?
Or even triple DES has been removed now.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're using those algorithms, your PKI or your application will stop working.
And I guess the big one we see now is key usage too,
Yeah.
where if the CA is you doing SCEP,
yeah,
it doesn't work with FIPS mode either, because you can only have a single key usage on a key now.
Exactly. So if you need to follow FIPS, well, you go for it. You have to do it.
Follow policy at that point.
You're limiting the use cases, and you need to be much more updated on the latest releases of the FIPS guidelines and your HSM firmwares and things like that. So,
if I enable it, I limit my algorithms like that, key usage, things like that. But isn't it, if it's already FIPS validated, don't I still get something FIPS out of that because it's been certified as FIPS even without the FIPS mode on there at that point, to some point?
Yeah, I mean, you get a proof of it's a valid product, it's secure. I would say that's a good benefit of it. Because there's another thing as well. I've seen products that say FIPS compliant.
Oh, I've never seen that. Okay.
They claim they follow FIPS, but they've never gone through the certification, which could take years.
Yeah.
So that's sort of a sneaky way. Well, we designed it to follow FIPS, but we never put it through certification. So what is that worth?
So obviously, the going through it knows that it does comply.
Yeah.
Even if you don't use FIPS mode, it's still compliant with FIPS.
Yeah, that gives you the big value of
it.
So I would say go for a FIPS-validated HSM, but don't put it into FIPS mode unless you have to, because your auditors or your government entity that have to use it.
So that kind of brings up, from the compliance side or an auditor, if I'm doing my audit on the PKI and I go in and just have them look to show me FIPS mode, is that enough, or should I be checking for more on how the HSM is configured at that point?
Yeah, I mean,
that might be a loaded can of worms on that one, huh?
Yeah, I mean, if you're an auditor and you have to audit the PKI, an easy way to do it is like, show me your HSM, show me that line that says HSM in FIPS mode, if it says true, yes, whatever. That's the easy way for me as an auditor. But there's so much more to it, right? I mean, how do I operate my PKI, my application? I mean, am I doing a sort of good audit logging on the application using the HSM, things like that? So you still have to go through that. So
you're really looking at the practices of how they're using it, like the 4I principle per se. So there's so much more to how the crypto's operated than just, is it FIPS mode or not?
Yeah, exactly. Are you monitoring your logs? So do you do like
configuration
checking?
or so those, configuration checking and
if you have an auditor who only wants to see your HSM in FIPS mode, well, I don't know what the value of that auditor in that particular sort of
You might want to
setup.
find a new auditor.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they might do other good things, but yeah, audit the application as well and how it's used.
Interesting.
So, I mean, because you could still run the HSM in non-FIPS enabled mode, but still using FIPS approved things. And when you are supposed to go from RSA 2K keys and you now have to move to 4K, if that would be the case from NIST recommendation, you still have to do that on the software because you need to use new keys on your CA.
Yeah.
So just having it in FIPS mode, well, it's a show for the auditor, I guess, limiting the functionalities.
Well, to wrap this up, we'll say that if you need to operate your HSM in FIPS mode, do so because of policy and make the best choice for it, but you don't always need to put it in FIPS mode just because you think it's going to be more secure, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So with that in mind, have a great summer, guys, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.
Take care.